Happy New Year to you. Good morning. So happy to see you all because we don't do it in between. We've been doing it all the way this whole holiday season and having great worship and lots of fun in the meantime. And somebody asked me out in the hallway today, they said, so what is today? It's like Happy New Year's Eve, or it's what day of Christmas is it? Because we did that service last week where I talked about the spiritual principles behind each day. And so for whoever's doing the daily devotion and keeping score, this is the 6th day of Christmas. And that would be echo it back to me, 6 geese a-laying. Okay, very good. Excellent, we got that. And by the next Sunday will be our White Stone ceremony, but it's also Epiphany, the day of Epiphany. And some people even celebrate Epiphany Eve. And in history, especially in London, they would get out their bells and get out their bagpipes. So on Saturday night, get out your bagpipes. And we're going to celebrate Epiphany next Sunday, the White Stone ceremony. But in all seriousness, this last couple of days of the year, where we've celebrated this year, we've had the theme word of connection, connecting deeper with our hearts, connecting deeper with each other, connecting deeper with God, the source of all. These last couple of days, you might reflect a little bit about your year and how you've done with that, and reflect. Somebody told me this morning that she wants to start back up doing her daily pages, her journaling. And that's an opportunity to kind of look back over the year as you prepare to set your intention for 2019. And we'll do that through the burning bowl ceremony, letting go, and then our White Stone ceremony. And you will also be writing a letter to God. Our letter to God will be written next Sunday, so I look forward to seeing you there. I want to introduce to you our guest speaker for today, Bruce Cryer. Many of you know him as the CEO of HeartMath Institute, where he was the CEO for many, many years. And also, what you may not know is that he did almost 800 shows, or was it 800? Exactly, 800 shows for the Fantastics. That's a lot. That's a lot, and not only that, but you probably know that that is the longest-running musical in the world. And it's the longest-running play in the United States, but not the longest-running play in the world, the longest-running musical in the world, yes, but the longest-running play in the world is The Mousetrap, right? I have my trivia right there, so just a little extra information for you, no extra charge today. But he did 800 shows, which is especially spectacular when you consider that after that he has overcome cancer. He overcame staph infection in his blood. He's overcame hip replacements, and all using the things that we talk about here at Unity, the Unity principles, the power of thought, the spiritual path. And so I'd like to introduce to you my very good friend, snowflake hanger extraordinaire, which that's a separate story, and overall Renaissance human, Bruce Cryer.
Wow, how fun to be here again. When I was here in March, it was right around the equinox. And here we are, massive celebration and time of new beginnings, the new year. And when I was here in March, I knew about 4 of you. Now I know 40 or 50 of you, and I'm eager to learn and meet all of you. So it's a treat and a delight and an honor to be here. And I have Tyler to thank, because if I hadn't known Tyler, I wouldn't have known James, and if I hadn't known James, I wouldn't have been invited to be here yet again right now. So I'm humbled being here. And James has shared a little bit of my story, and it was around 29 years ago that I said out loud for the first time, I'm dedicating my life to the path of the heart. HeartMath was about to start. We actually started in 1990. And I felt deeply that my life to that point, which had been involved in musical theater, and then I'd gotten into some very interesting, transformative type businesses, that my life to that point was leading to this realization that I was here to love. I'm not the only one in the room that feels that way, I believe. Might be one or two others that have come to that same conclusion. And it was a very deep, extremely satisfying feeling to acknowledge that and kind of admit that. I'm here to love. Whatever I actually do in life, it needs to be done with love, and that's why I'm here, and I want to feel loved with everything that I do if I possibly can. I'm not perfect at it, by the way, in case any of you are perfect. Love to meet you. It's a daily challenge, isn't it? There's a few things going on in the world that make it hard to love sometimes, and I'm not even going to discuss the environment. But as I say, it's an honor to be here because we're in a house of people who are dedicated to loving, and not just on Sundays, and not just on holidays, but throughout our lives as much as we can. And I felt so privileged to be part of that organization for more than 20 years, called HeartMath. And I want to share a little bit with you about that because I know in this community, I've been in many Unity churches, there's a buzz around HeartMath often. And either there's been a workshop about it or people have heard about it, they've been to Unity Village or wherever they may have heard of it. And I know James is planning to talk about HeartMath in more depth in the C week, which is maybe in March or something. So I'm not going to give you a workshop on that today. I mean, in fact, I actually want to start now with a meditation on the heart. So if you would like to join me in that, I think that'd be great if we all did it together. Or I can just do it on my own up here. I'll sit over there. You can talk amongst yourselves. So I'd like to take us through a heart meditation, and we're going to use some music in the background that was designed for a guided meditation that I created with a dear, dear friend of mine who was my roommate in college. And so we're going to have some music playing in the background to support this heart meditation. So if you would, the chairs are pretty comfortable, aren't they? And like when I'm in a hotel room or something. So just get comfortable in your seats as best you can, with your feet on the floor, preferably, as opposed to having them crossed. And you allow yourself to just close your eyes now. And this is such a special time in many ways. A lot of us have had more time away from the usual work routines if we work. On the other hand, we've had lots of parties or lots of things to prepare for, lots of activity going on, maybe lots of family events or friend gatherings, etc. So lots and lots of activity, but hopefully more joyful and more fun than the usual busyness of our lives. So let's take these next several minutes to let go of whatever is not of the heart so that we can fill up again in the heart of who we are. I'd like to invite you to breathe deeply as we do this meditation, and in that breath, imagine you could breathe into your heart. And there is so much love in this room. I'm getting chills, not just because it's really cold today. I'm getting chills from the love of everyone in this room. So draw in that love as you inhale into your heart. And then as you exhale, let go and let the love of your heart share to all of us here in the room today. And now breathe into your heart again. Be filled with gratitude for everything in your life that feels full right now, and hold it. And now exhale gratitude out to everyone else here today. And breathe in again into your heart. Breathe in the love, breathe in the gratitude, breathe in the appreciation, breathe in the newness of the new year that's about to unfold for us. Hold it in your heart. And now breathe it out, not just to who's in the room, but to this community and out to the world. And allow your breath to continue to fill you up with love and gratitude, taking care of yourself first. And then breathing out that love and gratitude to those that matter in your life, everyone who is here, those who are suffering, those who are ill, those who are in very hard times, those who could use our love today. And again, breathe into the heart and fill up with love, with compassion, with the joy of this such a special season of the year. And then as you exhale, just let go and breathe it out to everyone else. In this particular meditation, the theme is willingness. And as we're preparing for this new year and thinking about and pondering with our hearts, what do we want this year to be? Willingness is part of that. Willingness to open up to what we might not have expected, or might not have had on our goal list, or might not have wanted or desired to have happen. The willingness to let life, to let God, and to let Spirit surprise us. And breathe into the heart again, remembering the breath is such a powerful ally to bring your spirit alive inside. And when you breathe it out all the way. Let the cells just release any tension, any tiredness, any guilt, any anxiety, any shame, anything that's in us that is not of the highest part of us. Now let's just take a few moments in the silence. Feel the presence of Spirit in us, in this room, in each other. And be grateful that we all are here now. And be grateful for those that cannot be here now, that we can feel love for now and feel compassion for now. And in a moment, I'll ask you to open your eyes, and I'll ask you just to look around without saying anything, without gestures, except acknowledgement in the eyes of another. The spirit of namaste. I see the soul inside you. I see the love inside you. So go ahead and open your eyes and see the love around you in the eyes of your neighbors. When HeartMath was starting in 1990, 1991, we seemed kind of like a bunch of hippies, living up in the mountains in Santa Cruz, near Silicon Valley, California, in places where either the next founder of Apple or a guy who cut down trees for a living lived. So it was kind of a mixture. I'm not going to mention the people who made meth for a living. They also lived up there. Not a lot of them, luckily. And I remember when we were first describing what we wanted to do with this organization called HeartMath, which was to create a system of practical tools that anyone could use, regardless of their religion, their lack of religion, their spirituality, their lack of spirituality, their faith, their lack of faith, anyone. Tools to help live a more balanced life, to reduce our stress, to learn to live more from the heart, to live with more connection to one another, the theme that has been this year's theme, I understand, here at Unity of Dallas. And as we were exploring the heart in civilizations, in cultures for millennia, it was fascinating to see that every major world religion revered the heart, every single one. There's not a religion that is a major religion in the world, and that includes Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all of them revered the heart. Not just a casual mention of the heart, revered the heart. In Buddhism, the loving kindness meditation, the heart meditation, is one of the most profound tenets of that religion. In the Bible, there's over 1,000 references to the heart. In the Quran, there are dozens of references to the heart as well. So what was fascinating was that this commonality of experience in religions who didn't necessarily talk to each other for a long time at all, or didn't know of each other's existence even for a long time, had come to similar conclusions. There was some innate wisdom in the human heart which was being understood and expressed through different spiritual forms, different spiritual practices, different religious traditions, but nonetheless there was a commonality. And if there was anything that's going to bring us, this planet together right now, don't you think it might start with a heart? It's not going to be up here. We're all going to be different up here. We're all going to have different backgrounds up here, different education, different experiences, different skills, different opinions, different politics. All that's going to be different. But here, if we can do it, this is where we'll connect. So HeartMath decided one of the ways to gain validation for that, so it doesn't sound like just another hippie self-help concept from California, like we needed more of those. The world has enough, I believe, self-help things that were founded in California. And, of course, Don moved to California to be involved in... He's grooving on the hippie lifestyle. There you go. And I don't know what that was. I don't know what that gesture was. I have no idea. I just went blank. I have no idea, no memory of whatsoever. But when we were, as I say, as the part of the plan for HeartMath was that we wanted to validate through mainstream medical tools, mainstream research, the principles of the heart. Not New Age tools, not alternative tools, and I have great respect for them, and I'm alive today partly because of different alternative practices I chose in my healing. However, we knew if we were going to make a difference in healthcare systems, for us to make a difference in military, in schools, in corporations, it needed to be founded on mainstream science. So HeartMath, and I wasn't in charge of that, so I can't take that credit, but we did an amazing job of that. And part of it's why it is such a valid system now, why it's so useful, is because we understand that that practice that we did, that meditation that we did just then, had we hooked you all up to what are called heart rate variability monitors, we would have seen this beautiful sine wave pattern in just about everybody in the room. Your heart would have been in this beautiful rhythm, very smooth, very efficient, very simple rhythm, because those feelings of joy or gratitude or compassion or love that you were experiencing create the heart to beat in the most efficient manner possible. When you're watching a sunset, if you were wired up to a heart rate variability machine, your heart would be going in that same beautiful pattern. If you're watching your grandchild, or my new favorite niece, KK. I think you know KK, by the way, right? A couple of you have heard there's a baby around? Yeah. When I'm holding KK, that beautiful sine wave is what the heart naturally does. When you're doing what you love to do. Who has creative things they do in their life, like art projects or sing or dance or poetry, anything like that? You know that feeling when you're in the flow? If we had you hooked up to the machine, your heart would be in this beautiful, smooth rhythm. You know what it's like when you're in traffic? It ain't like that. It looks like an earthquake pattern. Welcome to the state of earthquakes. Our heart responds dramatically differently depending upon the emotions we're feeling or the emotions we are choosing to feel. So anything that gives us joy, anything that gives us hope, that gives us love, gives us compassion, HeartMath, discovered in the early 90s, puts our heart into the most efficient pattern possible. We also believed that the heart was intelligent, which is what all those religions had also talked about thousands of years ago, that the heart was the source of intuition, of courage, of wisdom. How can the heart be a source of wisdom if it's only a frickin' pump? Somewhere along the way, science said it's just a pump. Forget what all the religions believed for thousands of years. What do they know? We're science. We know what we're talking about. So HeartMath was in a strange dichotomy, whereas science was saying, heart's just a pump. It's not intelligent. Love, yeah, that's a sweet thing. Yes, you can call it involved with the heart, but it's not really involved with the heart. And then HeartMath came along and said, oh, yes, it is. Love right now, just love. Just feel love towards your dog, towards your wife, your kids, anything. Just love your plants, your favorite plants. Just feel love, and let's watch what happens. And sure enough, it goes into that pattern. we had the cardiologist who invented the study of what's called heart rate variability, who told us, without any doubt in his mind whatsoever, that no human being could control the pattern of their heart. That was not humanly possible. We could not do that. Our head of research, we were sitting in the lab. I was sitting next to this legendary cardiologist who had just said, you cannot change the pattern of your heart. Our research director, not some yogi, our research director, a geek guy, real geeky guy, turns around, hooks himself up to the computer with electrodes on his wrists, on his rib cage, and begins to feel love towards his wife. And the pattern goes like this. And this world-famous cardiologist who had just said it is impossible to affect your own heart rate variability had to sit there and watch as this researcher was affecting the pattern of his own heart rate variability. And I was sitting there slightly nervous what he was going to next say. And Dr. Don Singer, who ended up becoming part of our advisory board for many years, he paused and paused and paused, and he finally said, "This is significant." And he realized that his 35 years of studying of the heart had just been turned upside down by this little bunch of hippies in California who were studying the heart because we believed the heart was intelligent, that all the mystics and the poets and the dreamers and the romantics and the seers who had been knowing that the heart was so much more than just a pump, that they'd been right all along and science needed a better, well, catch up. So we caught them up. And I'm very proud of what we have accomplished in that way, in that regard. There's a lot more to the story of HeartMath, but I wanted you to understand those elements because I think pretty much everyone here, unless you're a baby and your mom and dad brought you here, are here because you know how important love is in your life. You know that when life goes best, you're following your heart in some way. And when life is not working great, it's because there's some tension, like your heart wants to do something and you're feeling pulled back to the job you can't quit or the relationship you're stuck in or whatever it is. And so this tension in the heart is, ugh. And then we look at that on the heart rate variability monitor, and sure enough, it looks kind of like an earthquake because of that inner tension is playing out physically. And part of why we even got into this in the first place was we looked at the research data, and the turn of the 20th century, so 1900, heart disease was not in the top 10 reasons why people died, not in the top 10. And it's been number one now for decades. So a huge change occurred for a lot of reasons, but part of it was our hearts were not being tended to. And that happened to me. In spite of being in part of HeartMath, I, in 2009, discovered I had stage 1 bladder cancer. I'm now 9 years cancer-free, so don't worry about me. It took a while to get to the cancer-free because I went through some staph infection excitement along the way, and it got in my blood, as James mentioned. And then my body was under attack, and I had to infuse vancomycin. It was a very strong antibiotic for 6 hours a day for 6 weeks. Drip, 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 drip. And during that time, my hips got a lot worse. I'm a dancer, and I'd run on roads for many years, and my hips were getting more and more arthritic to the point where walking downstairs, I felt like an 85-year-old man. Pardon to anybody who is 85, I didn't mean to diss you. And I wasn't. So this was like suddenly I had aged about 30 years. Like, how is this happening? What's going on? Losing my strength here was worse than the cancer, actually. It was more scary to me in terms of the life I wanted to have. I'm 7 years on times. So I'm good. I'm cool. Yoga squat, no problem. So I am very grateful, by the way. When I do that, I know I'm kind of showing off. Yeah, I'm kind of showing off. I'm very proud that I pulled it off. Because when I was told I had cancer, that it was definitely cancer, they didn't even have to operate to know it was cancer based on where I had it. I was meeting with this doctor, and he knew I was a speaker, and I traveled and just talked a lot about the heart and all this stuff. And he was curious how I was going to take this news and the protocol that was going to happen, all the treatments that would happen. I said, well, doctor, one thing is for sure, I will have a story to tell. I had no idea what was going to unfold. I had no idea I'd have to have my hips replaced. I had no idea I'd have to get staph infections, and it would end up in my blood, and it would be MRSA. Those of you who are healthcare people, you know that's the worst kind of staph to have, the hardest to treat kind of staph. I went the whole 9 yards. And if you're going to get staph infections, have it in your blood and have it beat MRSA. Just go for it. But when I was showing off there, part of why I even do that is that every time I make a movement like that in my life, like picking something up, every time for the last 7 years, I am so grateful that I can literally do this. Never thinking I could do that again. And so gratitude is so freaking important. Gratitude is so important. So my journey, the health stuff, shook me to my core. Many, many dark nights of the soul, dark afternoons of the soul, dark mornings of the soul. What am I doing? Why has my life seemingly collapsed? And I'm a man of the heart. It was the next level of lesson that I needed to learn in my growth. It wasn't because I was bad. It wasn't because I'd sinned and I was being punished. It was because there was new compassion I needed to learn for myself, new love for myself, new love and compassion for others that I needed to learn. And I also realized in the midst of it that I had put a lid on my own creativity, not realizing I was doing that. I was serving. I was the CEO of this amazing company. I was traveling 100,000 miles a year, teaching in Europe and Africa and Asia and Kentucky. I mean, anywhere. You know, I'd be going wherever. Actually, never did a workshop in Kentucky. What happened? How did I miss Kentucky? But I also realized that at my core, I am a creative person. I am unique in that regard, that I'm a creative person at my core. Because I'm the only me. But actually, everybody in this room is also creative at their core. And everybody on the planet is creative at their core. I can't totally prove it to you, but your heart knows I'm true. I'm right. And here's why. God gave every human being the power to create life. Whether or not you ever have children, every moment you're alive, new cells are being created inside of you. You are doing that. Luckily, we don't have to think about it, but we're still doing it. We're thinking thoughts. We're creating relationships. We're creating dynamics today in Fellowship Hall afterwards. Little things will happen, little moments that you are involved in creating. Nobody else made them for you. You are the ones creating that. We are literally creating all the time. And so, you know, you hear all this stuff about you are the creator. We heard the song from Jason about you are the creator. And I thought it always sounds so great. And then I thought, that's really true. That's at the level of DNA true. We are programmed to create. Now, how many of you actually consider yourself a creative person because you do something artistic? You're a singer, you're a poet, you crochet, you do whatever it is that you do. Okay, put your hands down. Now, raise your hand if you consider yourself a creative person, but you don't do anything artistic, but you still consider yourself a creative person. How many of you would have raised your hands to that question before what I've just said? Great, excellent. My point being, don't think creativity and artistic expression are the same thing. Being a poet is one facet of creativity. Being a singer is one facet. Being a dancer, being an artist is one facet. Solving a relationship problem that has been going on for years, is that not often a huge creative challenge? Last year, I released released an album of original songs. I'm going to sing one for you before I'm done. It was a huge creative project for me, who had never written a song, never wanted to write a song, and found myself involved at great expense producing an album of original songs. Huge creative challenge. You know what the biggest challenge of last year was? Navigating a long-distance relationship with me, who lived in California at the time, with my girlfriend, who was in Brooklyn, New York. She's a generation younger, from a culture so different. She's from Russia. Raised in an abusive, dysfunctional family. I was raised in a loving, sweetheart, pacifist family. Couldn't be more different. The creative challenge of that was way harder than that wonderful album I got to work on. So you get my point? That creativity is an energy that's inside us. We are given it. It's not like you learned it in school. I mean, yeah, you may learn some activities that awaken a way you can express the creative energy, but creativity is in you, and I hope you hear this. Those of you who have said, oh, my brother's the creative one in the family. Or my mom, she was so creative, not me. I'm a numbers person. Any creative numbers people? Accountants? Yeah, like you have to be super creative. So my mission now is in the honoring of all those years with HeartMath and the realization that the heart is an intelligent, powerful force in our lives and could be unleashed so much more for humanity. I also began to realize that part of what holds people back is this sense inside so many people who were told as kids, don't sing, please don't sing. Not even in the shower. Oh, and that dancing you would do, that would be really good to do with the door shut. How many of you were told things like that by parents or siblings or friends on the playground or teachers or bosses? Hey, you know what? You're fantastic at marketing. Stick to the marketing. Let the salespeople do what they do best. A lot of us have had that creative urge shut down and shot down. My mission is to awaken that again. And this is a good time of year to be thinking that way, isn't it? I've had the opportunity for the last 21 years, I've taught HeartMath at Stanford University every few months for 21 years. 2 years ago, they heard I was working on this creativity idea. I've developed a whole model about it, and some of you attended a workshop I did here in March. And they invited me to create a course about it. And now I'm teaching on creativity, and I'm thinking, how did I get here? I'm actually teaching courses on creativity. I never imagined I would do that, and yet life unfolds. Life unfolds. So this is a great time of year to begin to say to ourselves, what is possible for us? That we have convinced ourselves wasn't possible because we were told it, and we reinforced it over and over and over again. What is actually possible? So this song that I would like to sing is from this album that we did called Renaissance Human. James mentioned the name. And the song is called Yeah, I'm Me.
In my darkest place, I grew fearful of the light. It made my heart so small, just like a face with no delight. When we grow up scared, living like a refugee, and I have lived that way. And I won't ever go back to sea. In my heart, I know I'm the way that I'm designed to be, and I will let you know the truth I see when I am me. Now I live in light. I look up to the sky to keep me right, and I know the way. And I'm living here all day and night. Yeah, I'm me. Oh. Love can bring us hurt and pain, and now we have to be the truth that's deep inside with no shame. Now let's live in light. We breathe in the love to keep us right, and we know the way. We be living here all day and night. Yeah, me. Oh, that's the chorus. Now you can join in. Oh. Going on, that's you. Yeah, me. Oh. Yeah, I'm free.